Thank you for answering the question on homelessness, which I know it's a big issue here in our community. Before we go on, please, Jim, if you could please speak lower on the next question for interpretation reasons. Thank you. The next question is around immigration. Given the lack of agreement at the federal level around immigration and the anti-immigrant rhetoric echoed by politicians at all levels, what actions and policies would you push for locally to help? What local actions would you push for to help the large and diverse immigrant community in Merced County? We're going to start off with Maria and make our way to the left, and each of you is going to have 2 minutes to answer this question.
Thank you. Let me start by saying that our immigrant community is responsible for so much of the wealth building that is going on here locally. Their hard work and labor provide the manpower which drives Merced County's multi-billion-dollar economy. Our undocumented workforce, for example, pays billions of dollars into Social Security and medical every year without ever having the ability to receive those benefits due to their undocumented status. I think the lack of agreement at the federal level is purposely done in order to keep our immigrant workforce undocumented in status, thus keeping them from dipping into some Social Security pot of money they pay into. My ancestors are Mexican, Italian, German, which means I come from immigrants. We need to push for more robust ways to help people achieve legal status through work visas and otherwise. Thank you.
Well, everybody knows that I came here when I was 10 years old. I started working in the fields, pruning grapes, peaches, every fruit you can think of, but it's not easy. Like I said, we now as a educated and elected, I have to empower those same people to continue working hard, educate themselves. Because that's one thing we don't have, is education, because they're so focused on providing for the family. Both parents are working very hard and sometimes lose touch with taking care of the kids, because right now with inflation, the 1% or higher in this country have so much greed. That's why everybody's suffering. And all their focus is on politics. I don't consider myself a politician, even though I've been elected for all these years, because I still think, like I said, on a weekly basis, I still go to the ranch and I still have to deal with a lot of the same. Some are undocumented, some are not. Employees, and so I have to help them, with their issues, supporting them. Calling the Mexican consulate, addressing the issues. They can't get a visa. Some want to get a visa. They can't work. Others want to get their residency. They can't get the residency. When a cop pulls them over, they said, do it the right way. Well, I've been here 20 years trying to seek my, since my application, I haven't got my residency. And we keep holding, a lot of the immigrants to, like I said, to work. They don't get the benefits. Some do. Like I said, Medi-Cal. But I think we, together, working together federally and statewide, pushing. But I think it's going to, nowhere. Like I said, is addressed. It's very hard.
Yes, I'm on my mother's side. I am a first-generation citizen of the United States. My mom was born in Mexico, and she came over with her family. My grandfather came over, and they all worked in the fields also. But her goal was to become a citizen and become a member of society here. She did get her citizenship and ended up getting a federal job that she worked at for 30 years. So I think it is. I think when people immigrate to the United States, they want a better life and they want to become a citizen and become part of society here. I think that's what we need to do. Is we need to lobby to strengthen that pathway so that people are able to get their citizenship and achieve their dream here. And I know that a lot of them are overwhelmed by the system. And I think as an elected official, you can help guide that way and answer the questions and get them to the places where they need to, so they can get that goal.
want me to wait for the train to pass, or does it matter? You want me to wait? Yeah, go. Okay. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's hard to think of anything else. I'd like to thank my father for what he did for our family. We came here, like I said, first generation American. There's a lot of resources available that maybe some of us don't know about, but we couldn't afford an attorney for immigration. My dad actually used Don Ramiro Coronado and Don Vicente here at Catholic Charities, and he scrimped and he saved to pay for those filing fees. He was determined that we were not going to live in fear and that we were going to be able to be as successful as he could possibly make us. I want to thank my dad for that. Obviously, he's not going to watch this, but I'll tell him. Don't tell him if you guys know him. I'm very thankful for him for that. And this was before USCIS offered fee waivers. They now offer fee waivers. And I feel that it's something that a lot of people aren't aware of or privy to. So educating the community regarding that, instead of living in fear, there are services available to you. There are ways that you can legally, well, obviously if you're here, you can still legally immigrate. I personally have helped people to fill out the paperwork on their own. That way it comes from them, but I've helped them navigate through that process. But we use Catholic Charities. I'm Catholic, but they'll help anybody. You don't have to be Catholic. And that's just a resource that we have here locally. So thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your answers. Next, public safety continues to be an important issue for voters. What creative solutions would you propose? Gotta have something. That addresses the root causes of crime and don't simply result in the criminalization of Black, Indigenous, and people of color and lead to further mass incarcerations? You have 2 minutes to answer, and we'd like to start off with Mr. Espinosa.
Thank you. Well, I think what we need is nonprofits or volunteers to work with the sheriffs, the police departments across our county to support residents that are first come in into or get arrested for whatever reason. Obviously, there's some harsh criminals. I don't know if you can do much with those, but some there are sometimes accused of moderate stuff. Are able to be taken in and helped, screened to make sure, or sometimes some, like I said, don't are taking drugs or medicines and they commit crimes, small crimes. So those are the ones that you want to support by being screened. There's already talk about probably grant funding so that you can put especially on the behavioral side too as well, but screening before they get booked into the jail to make sure that they get addressed, some of their needs, and if they're able to, not go into jail and are small-time offenders, then they can be released and hopefully resolve their issues, and they won't get back in there. But once you put them in jail, they'll probably, a lot of them get worse because they learn stuff and or do worse drugs in there. So either on the behavioral health side or on like the small-time offending, I think that they can be helped, and then that way we'll have less criminals. And a lot of the nonprofits, they do care about people, so it doesn't matter what your color is. I think you can be helped. Thank you.
Yeah, I think getting to our youth is an important part of this solution. If you get them before they get into crime activities, if you reach out to families and see if there's certain issues going on in the home that can be addressed by local programs. You got to keep your youth involved in different activities. You need to be proactive, not reactive. There's several good organizations that are in the community. I myself, like I said, when I was in high school, I did FFA. That was a wonderful organization. It gets you involved in the ag community. I know a lot of youth. Some of them live in the cities, and I think if you partner with some of the agriculture, because we have a good agricultural community here, if you partner with them, and they reach out, you can learn a whole different aspect of living out in the country. There's Explorer Scouts. Again, that was one of the programs that I was involved in. I got in real young, and it taught me about law enforcement and a different career path. There's always sports. I think that all these programs, and you target our youth, you can get them diverted away from criminal activity. And continue our cultural sensitivity training to make sure that all the cultures know how to get along, or how our law enforcement different agencies know how to get along with different cultures, and make sure everybody gets treated equally.
So in my years as a substance use disorder counselor, I cannot tell you guys how many people ended up in jail that had no idea how they got there. They just woke up there. But during their intake, which is when they take you in and they assess you to see if you're able to stay, or if they're going to ship you off to the hospital, get you a little sobered up and then book you, they would realize that they had underlying medical conditions that they were not aware of. I'm not saying everybody's this way, but sometimes that can be the case. Diabetes affects you in ways that is just astounding. I had no idea. Another thing that I think is important for citizens to understand and become involved, a lot of these local law enforcement agencies, especially in the city of Merced, I actually was a part of the Merced Police Department Citizens Academy, and you get to realize that they have split seconds to make decisions. And as an offender, you also made a bad decision in that split second, and instead of it affecting the rest of your life, you have choices. We all have choices. That's why I began volunteering with CASA, because we work with at-risk youth that are in the foster care system, and you want to let them know there is hope. Do not lose hope. Hope is the one thing that you have that you should never lose. I'm rooting for you. You can do this. And sometimes people don't have that. Like, I'm very thankful that I have a very great support system at home, my family, the friends that I've surrounded myself with. But unfortunately, not everybody shares that. So reaching out to local nonprofits that are youth-centric, helping any way that you can, if not...
Thank you to the candidates. Oh, you still have to answer? Perfect. Okay. Yeah, you're right. My apologies. Dale, Maria.
Thank you so much. As you may know, Merced County now has the dubious title of being the murder capital of California. Our community is being ravaged by stress, obesity, high unemployment, and some of the lowest paid jobs in America. The prison industrial complex is also very real, as is the pipeline to prison. Many of the victims of this pipeline don't realize what's happening until it's too late. People need a sense of belonging, and laws have historically been written to prey on and destabilize certain members and member groups of our communities. Many offending or lawbreakers are doing so due to simply not belonging to the right group of caring individuals that do understand what is happening. Our diverse community needs the resources to explore and fully understand their predicament, and that is why programs such as the ones we have here putting on this event are so important. But it's not enough to simply say we care and not vote for change. We won't get different results by voting the same way. Merced County is now the murder capital of California, and this has happened as a result as a leadership that has been put in place. When elected, I will make sure to indict this written and not only acknowledge these unsightly facts, but also address them through active intervention with not only education and more funding for outreach, but also through holistic approaches such as proper diet and exercise, training programs, sports programs, and other activities for our youth. Our youth is our future. Thank you.